Hey everybody, I'm Doug, that's Conor, and you're listening to, and I just fact-checked this with both ChatGPT and Google's Gemini and a couple other off-brand AIs, but we are, in fact, the greatest popfast in the history of the world. That's what they told me. It sounds fantastic. You're listening to the Bethel School District Presents podcast, and we will be talking about artificial intelligence. And no, I'm not just talking about Conor here, but later in the show, we'll be talking about AI and how it's impacting our staff and students. We're also going to be talking about a unique way that Graham-Kapowsin High School is welcoming freshmen, and we'll be hearing from one of those freshmen later in the show also. And before that, we will talk about some legislative changes that are really muddying the waters for the future of our district. But first, boy, that was dire. We do have to do useless trivia because we are contractually obligated to do that. So, Conor, let me kick it to you with all those words from that intro.
All right, Doug. I fell asleep in that intro. And let me just tell you, my intelligence is real and it's spectacular. So, Douglas, did you know that we owe the word nerd to Dr. Seuss?
Really?
Don't answer that. It's true.
Okay.
Just let me tell you.
It was a rhetorical question.
Well, I didn't want you to actually answer it. The first documented appearance of the word nerd was in Seuss's 1950 book, If I Ran the Zoo, describing a small, grumpy-looking creature. Before that, if you were a bookish, nerdish type of person like Doug, people would just call you a square.
Oh, no, that's worse.
That's much worse. And my source on that is the American Heritage Dictionary.
That's a great piece of trivia. I love If I Ran the Zoo. Read that to the kids growing up. If I ran the zoo, said young Gerald McGrew, I'd make a few changes. That's just what I do. And you can verify for our audience off the top of my head.
He was not reading. I don't know if that's good or bad that he knows it that well, but...
Well, my useless trivia goes back a little bit farther than yours. We're heading back to 1776, Conor, and settle in because it's another long piece of useless trivia from me this week. The short version, if you want to listen to that and then skip ahead, is as the American Revolution was getting underway, a lead statue of King George III in New York City was melted down to produce bullets for the Continental Army.
Well, that's pretty cool. Fitting.
Well, the story goes back to July 9th, 1776, and a group of 40 soldiers tore down a statue of King George III. And this is no small feat, mind you. This is a 4,000-pound statue of King George on horseback, mind you. They pulled it to the ground, broke it into pieces with the intent of taking it up to Connecticut and turning it into musket balls. They made it most of the way, and then they were attacked by British loyalists who stole about half of the statue and buried the pieces so they couldn't be used. Now, the other half did make it to Connecticut. It was melted down, and it made 42,088 musket balls that the Continental Army definitely used in the American Revolution because archaeologists have found the musket balls and compared them to pieces of the statue, the ones that were stolen and buried, that are in museums now. And the chemical makeup is exactly the same. If you want to see one of those pieces for yourself, the New York Historical Society has the tail. It weighs 200 pounds. There's another piece, a left hand and forearm fragment, that actually sold at auction for $207,000. And that is my useless trivia.
Wow, that is fascinating. And you may have beat your own record for the longest bit of trivia. So congratulations on that, Doug.
Thank you.
And who might your sources be on this little nugget?
Well, this nugget comes to you from a number of different places, obviously. Mental Floss, the Gotham Center for New York City History, and the France's Tavern Museum, which is a pretty cool one.
Well, thank you again, Doug. Great piece of trivia. And if we have any time left in the show... And we actually do have a jam-packed show today. We're going to be talking about our budget. We're going to be talking about AI. We're going to be talking about what it's like to be a ninth grader in our district right now. But let's get going first with budget talk. So as we all know, we recently passed our two very, very important, much-needed levies, the Educational Programs and Operations Levy and our Tech Levy. So with those passages, you may have thought, okay, everything's going pretty smoothly with our budget. That's not exactly the case, and Doug's going to tell us more about that.
Yeah, the levy money's actually okay, but as we talked about as we were running those informational campaigns, one thing our community benefits from with the passage of a levy is called local effort assistance. And for property poor districts like Bethel, LEA is really important. It's designed to help us keep up with property-rich districts, and we get more than $12 million in annual state funding that only triggers when local voters approve district levies. So, like we always say, thank you, voters, but unfortunately, I should have said that in the past tense because $12 million is what we used to get. The legislature has made some changes and is cutting back on the very assistance that we rely on. And it is going to be a really big deal. Here's Christine Donnelly, our Chief Financial Officer.
There is an impact into the future years as well, up to about almost $30 million over the next 3 years.
So that is obviously sobering news, but the good news is we're not standing still, neither are the other districts in our area. But Doug, what can people do if they want to make their voices heard in this situation?
Well, one thing they can do is contact their legislators in Olympia. That's who has changed the budget, and that's who needs to hear from you if this is something that you want to see change back to the way it was. There is a website. There's too many slashes and dots and all that kind of stuff to put it here, but if you go to bethelsd.org/news, you can find the story. Just look for the picture of the Capitol in Olympia, click on that, and you'll find the link right in there. Or if you know who your legislators are, send them an email, give them a call, light up the phones because they need to hear from you.
Well, moving on to our next big topic today, we're talking about what is it like to be a ninth grader in our school district right now. And I know things are a lot different from when we grew up, Doug. I can picture you now in ninth grade, a long, glorious mullet, black Van Halen shirt on, and I'm sure things were very easy for you back then. That's not always the case today, though. Times are a lot different, and our ninth graders have a lot more challenges than we did. Isn't that right, Doug?
Yeah, it sure is. You're half right, and I'm going to let listeners figure out which part of the mullet or the Van Halen t-shirt was correct. But for freshmen today, they are facing a different set of challenges, and that's why schools like Graham-Kapowsin High School have a ninth grade success program that is really making changes, especially for freshmen like Ever. For her, the backbone of her high school experiences was programs like study support.
Study support was very helpful. I was able to go in the morning because some kids aren't able to go after school. So having these things during school are like very helpful for many students.
Absolutely. And study support's just one of the many, many programs that GK has put in place recently to help ninth graders thrive. Here's Ever again.
There's after school ELA help and math help and science. And it's really helpful because you're able to focus on that certain subject and you're really able to talk to the teacher personally instead of doing it in front of a whole class, because I know some kids, they're scared to talk in front of a whole class.
The goal of this ninth grade success program is simple but essential. It's to keep students on track to graduate. Principal Kevin Zamira said that ninth grade is the foundation for everything that follows.
So it starts at ninth grade. You have to keep them on track. It's easily the most pivotal year of their high school career.
So the really good news here is that appears to be working. The 2023-2024 school year, only 57.5% of freshmen were on track to graduate. That number has skyrocketed. By the second trimester of this school year, it's reached 79%.
Now, this ninth grade success program is doing amazing things because of amazing people at the building. A team of 20 teachers at Graham-Kapowsin High School is tirelessly working to help students master the real-life skills that they're going to need once they cross that graduation stage. These are skills like communication, confidence, and critical thinking. In fact, the same ones you'll see highlighted in our district's portrait of a graduate. Let's hear from Ever again.
All these things, all these resources have helped me prepare for 10th grade and all the grades going on to that.
So what I really love about this story is that Ever is kind of paying it forward. Not only is she taking advantage of these programs as a student herself, but she recently went over to Frontier Middle School to help 8th graders there prepare for their own leap into high school this coming fall. She and other freshmen showed them how to manage gradebook and use all the other resources that are available to them. Here's Ever one more time.
The teachers are very welcoming to, if you need help in any class, you can just always talk to them. And my communication skills have really improved.
Well, I love the change this has made for Ever and a lot of other freshmen, and it's because of the hard work of teachers and staff members at GK that care about the students, and they're willing to change and evolve to make sure students are headed in the right direction. And this program is evolving too, and it'll soon be moving on to the 10th, 11th, and 12th grades.
So we're going to wrap up this episode by talking AI and tech, which is on the forefront of everyone's mind these days. And we are thrilled to be in a district where we're able to offer students one-to-one iPad use. Thank you, voters, for that tech levy support. But with all that technology comes some potential problems. And one of those is security.
It sure is. We live in a time where cyber attacks are not only frequent, they're a multi-billion-dollar industry in themselves. Our technology department isn't just managing devices, they're literally building a digital fortress so our students and staff can operate safely online. Here's Chief Technology Officer Mike Christensen.
The weakest link, and this is why we're focusing on people, is humans. So we could be Microsoft with as much money possible to build cybersecurity systems, and the right person clicks on the wrong link and data is lost, right? So we have to try to close that loop on having people make good decisions with their internet usage and checking their email.
And it's not just a kid problem. Not at all. Adults can make mistakes too, which we both know because we were actually the victims of a little friendly phishing campaign that our sneaky tech department recently sent out. And so, Doug, as you probably remember, we get these emails and they say, hey, you're a pretty swell guy. Here's a free Starbucks card. Go get yourself a coffee. Now, I don't know about you, Doug. I like free coffee. It was awfully hard not to hit that link and collect it, but I didn't because I'm a genius.
I'm proud of you. I will say it was extra devious that they sent that at 3 p.m. right when I needed an afternoon pick-me-up. That said, that's one cool thing they're doing. We also have new MDR systems that detect and shut down malicious activity the moment it appears. And we even hired a white hat hacking company to try and break into our system, and they couldn't do it. The digital deadbolts were locked.
So it wouldn't be a tech talk if we didn't talk about AI, artificial intelligence. And the question remains, how are we as a school district going to use AI now and in the future? Here's Mike Christensen.
To AI or to not AI? And that's probably the wrong question. It's more of like when to AI, not if to AI. We also know that AI can't replace the teacher. It doesn't replace good instruction. It's not going to replace critical thinking, right? So we want a responsible, ethical, and intentional use of AI.
Mike also told us that staff will be getting more training on AI in the very near future.
We're working with teaching and learning to develop a PD plan. It'll be rolled out with guidance for students, staff, and teachers for summer training in August. We're also going to be utilizing these late starts to continue that learning throughout the year and providing guidance on how we use it as a tool again, an intentional tool when it's necessary to make sure that it's enhancing instruction or learning. We feel it's an essential tool for folks to learn, our students to learn, but in a way that's responsible and safe. We also have a deep concern for student data protection. And so we're working within our Google for Education ecosystem, which we have signed contracts, data privacy. Our data doesn't get used for their learning model. So we're really going to be focused on Gemini as our main tool for our folks here, so we can make sure we continue to keep everyone in a spot, and we can stay out of any new tool that just pops up and please, it's the best. And as soon as you put your name in there, it's already sold your data to someone else.
Obviously, we live in a very complex digital world, and our tech team's making decisions that will help ensure that technology remains a tool for growth, not distraction. And this work, as we've mentioned many, many times, is only possible thanks to our technology levy. So thank you once again, voters.
Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. As always, you can find more information about all these topics at bethelsd.org. And if you like what you heard, even if you didn't, be sure and share the show with a friend. We'll be back next week.